I'm no alarmist, financial conspiracy alarmist, like so many of these alarmists. But you know, there's like epic something financial epic, and all these alarmists out there, you know, about financial systems and influence. And there's a lot. I mean, being American, we suffered the worst, a pretty bad collapse. So I ain't gonna say the worst, but Great Depression could have been worse, I guess. But we got it bad back in 2007. And that's always been my fear, that 2007 is going to happen again. That was a long economic crisis. And been watching a lot of YouTube videos for the past couple of days. And there's a lot of fear mongering going on. And I mean, our system, no system is stable. No economic system is stable. The only thing it takes is like fucking a depositor come over here and deposit what, $90 billion, be a shareholder at that bank, seen it get lent out, 900 billion of it get lent. Of course, the reserve requirements, that's almost $1 trillion get lent out by the reserve requirements. Then they demand that money back. What did they demand that money back? What if it got lent out? Well, 10 times of it get lent out, or 75%. Yeah. I mean, shoot, having a share in some kind of institution that you put your money on deposit in, you know if they lent it out, they go demand it back. Boom, collapse, bankruptcy, in the red. I mean, they blame all these things on subprime lending. I mean, yeah, there's the issue. There's a bubble going on, but and the banks put themselves vulnerable. But we have a history of war. We have a huge history of war. And there was a time it was kind of stable, and that was around the time we won World War II. We adopted the B central currency, reserve currency for the world. I mean, we still are, but where's reserve currency? And starting with Bretton Woods system became reserve currency, and so here we are. Became it, and then well, there ain't no other point in history that when shit got crazy since we became off that Bretton Woods system. Well, if you think about all the wars and how vulnerable a banking system is, well, once you gotta see the vulnerability of our banking system. You see how vulnerable we are. And how someone could put like a $90 billion in a bank, a big bank, and have it on deposit, and then that bank just lends out like 900 billion, or probably 750 billion. I won't say they will lend it all. The reserve requirement, the entire reserve requirements out 10 times of it, probably fucking good 7 times. But anyways, lent it out, and then depositor of this, what did I say, 90 billion comes, say, to take it out, which ran on the bank, which is called run of the bank, took it out. Now the bank's got, if it's, if it lent out like 7 times of it, now it's 750 billion in the red. Federal Reserve sees it. Where it got to the Federal Reserve says, hey, here's 100 billion. But it's still short that money that got lent out. Even though it replaces that 90 billion that left, but really, it's not their thing. Otherwise, which is called a run of a bank. The bank went bankruptcy. Went bankrupt, of course. But that vulnerability. But I guess to understand why wars happen is to look at the banking system, at lending reserve requirements, and tremendous amount of fiat money that's out here. Look at the history of wars. I mean, we can see how we got pulled into World War II because Japan bombed up Pearl Harbor. But why would they do that? I mean, the Germans are already in war with the Russians, trying to invade Stalingrad and all that shit, Of course, the Allies were all busy up. Everybody was in war. And we was just supplying arms for British and French. Here comes Japan, decides to bomb us. Why would they do that? It's like fucking, they already had, like all Japan and German allies were already had a bunch of fronts to fight, I mean, Germany wasn't winning against Russians, and Japan's gonna pick on us, pull us into the war. Why would Japan do that? So anyway, so we get pulled in the war and shit, so we won. Well, then Bretton Woods came about. Then Vietnam War. Why do we go to Vietnam War? Well, have you ever heard that the reason why we got off the Bretton Woods system? Because the French came over here in a war vessel, demanded all their gold back. And so, of course, Nixon's gonna say, hey, no more Bretton Woods, we ain't got your gold. And so, you got your gold. And, you know, I get kind of suspicious of videos that don't show too much of this scenery. But if you link everything together, like, find out for yourself. I should put together connections myself. But anyways, coincidentally, French used to, Vietnam used to be a French territory. What if France persuade us to fight that war? If you win that war, get us that market, whatever else. Because everything's about having the market. Having their market like England. England wanted all their republics' markets. And so they want mass banking. So the money's always been on. They'd be the creation of the IMF and stuff like that. They want all those nations to become a vassal, owned by the banks. All the bailouts, all the IMF bailouts say, hey, condition, you raise up your retirement age, we loan you that money, open up your markets, low taxation, we lend you that money. Well, now they become dependent upon the financial world, and they can't be self-supporting like they kind of was. But anyways, with France, it was kind of funny. It came over here, we fight in Vietnam War, which that war didn't make no much sense. I mean, if you think about it, it don't make no sense that we fought Vietnam. We came all the way over Vietnam and fought for. They have no resources. So, which probably indicates that France had influence on us to fight. Because it's France that came over here on boats, demanded their gold back after we lost that war, ironically. And we spend money in war and acquire super hyperinflation. They eat up. Hell, I don't know, that war is just crazy anyway. Hyperinflation during that time war. To where after we got off the Bretton Woods system, Volcker, Federal Reserve man, back in Nixon days, did the raise the interest rates to 20%. I mean, back then everything was all cool, kinda. Even though we spent all the world's money on that war, but why do we have to spend it anyway? Why do we even have to go to that war unless we spent that money before the war? And the French was like, hey, you go to that war, you'll be all good. I mean, there really ain't no reason why we should go to that Vietnam War. But I think that it just seems like everything's intertwined, interfluence. I mean that war, our war, the Kuwait War. Well, not Kuwait, but Iraq. The Iraq didn't make much sense either. I mean, you think about it. I mean, yeah, like I say, I like to think it's Bush's thing to control oil, because he had his hands in oil. But anyways, I mean, there's some kind of conspiracy there. I can't say. I can't see why somebody would just blow our towers up, get us in the war, then boom, 5 years later, we're suffering an economic crisis. I mean, why do we even suffer an economic crisis? We won that war against Iraq. But, in Afghanistan. But there's powers to be somewhere. That's not necessarily a nation. Yeah, a nation's got a lot of influence. I mean, Kuwait's pretty rich. Oman's pretty rich. All those nations out down in the Middle East. I mean, they could damage us, our financial system, independently, as wealthy as they are. They put their money on deposits over here in the United States. Perhaps it's some kind of insurance company or whatever else to hold on cash. Whatever, it can some bond cash together, and put it on deposit over here. In our banking system, our banking system lends that out. Then years down the road, they would demand that money back. When our banks will lend it out. Lent out 9 times of it. Then a collapse happened. I mean, if you look at all the wars, somehow they're kind of interconnected somehow. And I'm just delirious with the Federal Reserve creation. We've been in issues. I mean, we was an industrious nation without a central bank. I mean, we was booming. Then all of a sudden we got a central bank. I mean, we had problems even before the central bank. But the bank is superficial. All the banks, central banks, are superficial. Chinese, they're running at 175% of their GDP off of debt. And for some reason, our nation goes, well, we're going to tax your imports. I mean, of course, our government had to do that. It's acting, our government's acting like it's third world. Like IMF came in, bailed us out, and told us, you got to subside on the tariffs, lower your corporate taxes. What's next? To some austerity, cut social programs. That's what it seems like. That's what it seems like it's becoming. But anyways, we're all being exploited by the banks. Banks lend. But it's a vulnerable system. I mean, 9 times the reserve requirements. They can lend out 9 times they got on deposit. 9 or 10 times. I think it's 9 times they got on deposit. Which is that? Why such small? Why lend out 10 times? I mean, fuck. It's like me You lend me out $10, I'm gonna loan out 100, or 100 of it. But how can I lend out 100 of it? What am I gonna do? You know what I mean? Yeah, I ain't got that power or ability. I mean, I can't just turn $10 into 100. But banks, central banks are able to do that. But, I believe the system is intertwined too far. There's a lot of rumors going around about, I mean, it's kind of a coincidence that trade interconnectedness has been created by the leftists, left wings, central lefts, far lefts. But why? Well, why in my nation, United States of America, that they allow that left that want such a, I mean, why interdependence? You know what I mean? Why so intertwining? I mean, I like the Democrats better, the left side, because every time we have the right side, we go to war, or we spend money on defense, or there's a war. Spending money unnecessarily on bullshit. It's not a bailout. It's just like money we ain't got. Just to keep the boom going. Keep on going. And then there's some things about George Soros. George Soros started his beginnings, his multi-billion-dollar beginnings, back in Adolf Hitler years back in Romania. He ain't got that much respect in Romania. But anyways, he created his beginnings over there. That guy does will some wealth. He can bring down a nation on its knees himself. But for some reason, I'm starting to not become a Democrat. I mean, I don't like the warmongering Republicans. I mean, I did not like what George Bush did. Whatever it's about, whatever that war, Iraq and Afghanistan war is about. I mean, obviously we got swayed into that war. I mean, come on, Moten's still pouring out of World Trade Towers. I mean, there ain't nothing that can make that still melt like that, unless somebody did whatever that burn thing is called. That burning hot stuff, thermite. thermite. It burns hot. It can melt steel. But there ain't no explanation of seeing molten steel. What if those towers did not fault collapse? What if they just been bombed? Well, targeted and didn't collapse? Now, would we still went to war if they didn't collapse? Seeing those buildings collapse did break our hearts and made us feel vengeance. So I can see why we got pulled to fight two nations. It's all about all. Kind of feel like there's lots of obscurities, but we're vulnerable. Our banking system is vulnerable. Our economy is vulnerable. What it takes like $90 billion to control us? Is that how much money it takes to control us? Our banks they're like, well, we got this $90 billion on deposit, so we can lend out $900 billion. No problems. Then when that $90 billion gets requested back, Federal Reserve can pump in $100 billion, but that's not on deposit. It's on some kind of, I don't know. Even the banking system changes the policies and stuff. What they do. They blame the whole mess on subprime lending. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was a bubble anyway, but the whole world is going into bubbles. China, at least China invested a lot. They invested heavily in their infrastructure. They got soybean producers now. Thanks to our Bush terrors, of course, or not our Bush, but our Trump. Oh, we need terrors. Of course, you need to do something, because the world just ain't gonna hold our debts forever. There's like 4 big markets: United States, European Union, China, India. Huge markets. Russia too, but they're not really that open, penetrate. I'm sure China's going over there to benefit from our imports. But we're in a mess. We like our reserve currency. We can't just devalue our currency just to make our goods competitive overseas. But we like that reserve currency status. If we lose that, then we lose our demand for dollars and our dollars will fall in value. So we gotta keep it in demand somehow. But it's a mess that we've been into for a long time. We enjoyed the wealth a little bit too long and produced little. Whatever about the inflation back in Nixon days. Probably started before Nixon, maybe Johnson. World War II. Other wars just don't make no sense. Well, you trace back the founding of the Federal Reserve happened in a little island in Georgia. It could be started by a lot of conspiracy said. Well, I can't say a lot, but quite a few saying that the Bank of England. If you think about it, all of the central banks are kind of connected. Who knows when one system goes, one major banking system has trouble, how does the other one deal with that trouble? Our government gave our banking system a bailout, which I believe 100 billion went over to England, Bank of England, to help them out right away. Unfortunately, our governments, our populations, that we're huge. We're a huge market of people, but there is no more Plan B left. The last Republican abused it. Just like the prior Republican abused it. But I guess this Republican, he's doing something like a third world country is forced to do by conditions of IMF. I don't think there's no saving us. We gotta answer the piper someday. And I can try to look around, see which system's safer. But I would say the less integrated one. China's hugely integrated. They depending on exports. If they don't make those exports, their system will go crashing. There's some rumor about Norway. The politics has been, or not politics, but the Scandinavians, like Norway, probably Greenland, unsure, but those are like safety And Poland too. Those that ain't tied into nothing. Pretty self-independent. But I've been hearing some good about Poland. Norway, they got cash flow. Well, but I would say that no system is immune from disruption unless you have money, like Norway was wise to do. Built up a rain fund to where it became immune to such mess. Well, nice sharing.